Hello and welcome to my explanation of the desert temple in The Witness. I'm making this video because the other videos I've seen of this desert temple have mainly just shown the solutions to these puzzles, but I wanted to explain how you're supposed to come up with the answers to these puzzles in the first place, without using a walkthrough. Now basically the whole point of this entire puzzle area is the use of reflections. So if you haven't figured that out already, then I'd suggest you go ahead and start out with the first puzzle. You can see the reflections of the path there. So if you didn't figure that out already, I'd suggest you just go and, now that you know this, go and try to solve the rest of the puzzles, because every single one of the rest of the puzzles are just based on reflections. But like me, if you already have, but some of them can get extremely frustrating even though you do know that they're reflections. So now for this first one, it's pretty easy. You might have probably already figured this out. If you can stand here, you can see the solution pretty easily. The next one is also pretty easy. There it is right there. And I don't think you can figure out what's underneath the shadows, but it's pretty easy just to tell by elimination. You have to go through here and end up there. Now this next one, if you stand to the left here, you can see the beginning and the end of the solution. But this right side is blocked by a shadow, and there's no way to move this shadow, but how you're supposed to figure it out is that there's also this panel at the back, so you can move the panel over to move the light side over to this end, so you can see what the solution on the right side is. And once you get just the right angle, you'll be able to see that's the solution. So let me enter in that solution real quick. Now here's where it's getting, where I think the game isn't really designed too well. So I was able to figure it out up to here without any help, but over here I got kind of stumped. Because if you just look up after you finish this puzzle, you see, okay, those three are lit up, and there's really nothing. So, your next instinct is to walk up to it and see if you can see any reflections inside here, and you can't. Now in real life, you would be able to see the reflection from here. So basically the light is coming from the top, and then it'll be reflected down a little bit. So in real life, you could kind of, if you go up really close to something like this and you can kind of tilt your head down, you'd definitely be able to see the reflection. But it doesn't really work in the game that way. And it's kind of stupid, but you have to stand in exactly the right position. So for this middle one, you can see even if you stand right up here, it doesn't work, even though it honestly, it really should. But you have to stand up pretty close to it right here, and that's the only way you can see the solution. And if you only, if you're off by even just a little bit, like right here, it won't be apparent to you. So I think that's where the game kind of makes little mistakes, because you have to be in an extremely precise spot in order to see the reflection. So let me solve that there. The same goes with the ones on the sides as well. So for this, you would expect to be able to see the reflection from here, but it's not working. And so most people would just give up, and, there's like, no way to see it from here. But you have to stand in a very specific spot, way off to the side over here, and that's the only way you can see the solution. That's part of the game that I really don't like that much, because it's not too realistic with how it would be in real life. So you have to stand right about here for this left panel. Next, the center panel opens up, and then this one, since that's angled down, you have to get up real close to it, and you'll be able to see the solution right there. Finally, here's the red herring one again. This might be blank if you already tried to solve this earlier like that. Anyways, let me redo that again. And if you just do that, it'll show up. And you do get a panel that you can use to move. And the hint here is that it's moving extremely slowly. So that's kind of a hint, as in, it's giving you time to go somewhere. So it doesn't really matter the start or the end position. That's not the important part. It's this part in the middle, where it's giving you a lot of time to move. And so apparently the solution is to go up this ladder here, but you have to stand up on this middle area, not at the very top. You have to stand at the middle area. Now you have to wait for the perfect angle, because you'd expect you'd be able to see it right now, but you can't. So you might give up, but you actually just have to wait a little bit longer, and you can see there's just a very small window of time for you to see that reflection. Again, I think that's bad game design, because I think you should be able to, in real life, there'd be a bigger window to see that. But anyways, once you solve that, it's all finished, and then you could go into the back and start the underground portion of this desert temple, which I might cover in a later video. So there you go. That's my explanation of the solutions to the desert temple, at least the above ground part.